Welcome to Little Lights. This is my new series of honest, relaxed conversations with people that I've met through my work over the years. And I want this to be a way to share something that feels much more needed right now than ever before. And that is real stories of strength, growth, and hope. So, welcome, Ioana. I'm really happy
Um,
to be having this conversation with you today as part of this new series. Because this, as we were just chatting before I press record, this is about sharing truth, hope, and the real life experiences around healing, especially for those of you that are out there that are still in the thick of it. Because it's really important for me to get across that you don't have to be fully healed in order to be a light for somebody else. Your learning and your experience is the most precious thing for someone else. So, how are you doing today?
yeah, great. Yourself?
Yeah, good, thank you. It's really good to see you again. We haven't seen each other for quite some time, so it's really good to catch up. We've had some emails and stuff, but actually having a chat has been really special before I pressed record. So I'm really looking forward to this. So let's get started. Let's go with, if it's okay, can you take us back to where you were physically, emotionally, or it could be spiritually, when your journey first began?
Yeah, so my symptoms started when got around the time that I was pregnant. So I'd gone through a miscarriage, and possibly the symptoms started just before I got pregnant with had my second pregnancy, I want to say. And I brushed it off. I thought it was all part of the pregnancy package. And then found myself 6 months postpartum at the hospital having the colonoscopy. Um, and that being the first time being away from, my little 6 month old for a few hours while I'm, stuck at hospital waiting for this procedure. And then being told that, I have what I'd suspected because I did do the Google deep diving beforehand. Um, so it kind of confirmed what I'd suspected. I think that just goes to show our intuition is can be pretty much on the mark. And yeah, just found myself postpartum with really, that was probably the point that I had the most severe symptoms. And they worsened after the diagnosis, funnily enough. It's almost like that was just another layer on top of everything. And, being a new mum is challenging, but also having to run to the bathroom before your baby wakes up to have to go, I don't know, I think I was going up to seven times in the space of like half an hour or
Yeah,
something,
yeah.
um, just getting everything out. And yeah, so that I would say around then was my lowest point.
Mm. Thank you for sharing that. Um, and it was interesting what you said about the symptoms increased after diagnosis. And also, this was around kind of 2020, wasn't it? There was a lot of stuff going on in the world, in would have been in your environment, and as well as that, miscarrying and then going through a pregnancy. It was a lot. What do you think, looking back now, what do you think you were struggling to believe was possible back then?
Well, I guess it was the delivery of the diagnosis as well as to me, it just felt very serious, like a death sentence, that if I didn't get on top of it, it would lead to cancer type
Yeah.
conversation. And that medication was the only way. And I, I've always been a bit stubborn or rebellious in that sense. So to me, something switched and I was, going to the doctor visits was a bit of a struggle until I eventually was connected with someone a bit more open-minded. Um, yeah, so what was the question? I've gone off on a
No, that was
tangent.
no, that was great. It was just a what were you if there was something you were struggling to believe was possible back then, what was it?
Mm. Oh yeah, so I probably struggled to believe that I'd ever have any sort of sense of normalcy and like fun.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I love that your stubbornness kicked in because that probably served you really well because that rebelliousness, there's a part of you that probably went, no, I'm not settling for this, even though there was another part probably believing there was this, I feel there was probably an undercurrent that said, I'm
Well,
not so
that's
sure.
how I ended up also coming across CCL was just having that questioning mind a bit
Yeah,
of like what else is out there. Um, but that's a whole thing in itself because that's also overwhelming as well. I did worsen with all the sort of restrictions that I placed on myself from all the information overload that I was getting.
yeah,
Yeah, so that was another lesson too
yeah,
strict protocols are not for me. And it may be a bit slower, but I've got to figure this out in my own way. Because I am definitely like an intellectualizer and too many rules kind of bring me right back to childhood in a way of trying to be, perfect, get it right. And that's been a lesson for me too of letting that go.
yeah. And
Yeah.
that's not easy to do. How do you think, because there will be people listening to this, watching this and thinking, I'm like that. Because I do see that kind of personality with a lot of people with IBD. They'll probably be thinking, well, how did you start to let that go? Do you even know? And if you do, could you share something as to how you, firstly, recognizing it is the biggest step, but how do you think you started to relax on that and start to let that way of being go?
It was 100%. I was, I found myself spiraling mentally. Um, I would be crying to my husband, like, I don't know what to eat. We'd be writing lists out and then, oh no, but I can't have that and I can't have that and I've got to cook it a certain way and this, that, and the rest. And when the gut's off balance, that puts like the brain chemistry off balance too. Like everything, that gut brain connection is
Yeah,
off as well. So to me, it just seemed like so overwhelming, and I knew I had to find someone like a mentor in a way, someone who'd been through this, who could talk me through it and had some sort of skill set to help me come out of that mental spiral. And that's how I came across you. And we had our, I think it was like 6 sessions or something
yeah.
together, and that completely like changed the trajectory of everything. I would say that was like a big turning point for me. Yeah.
Which is so great to hear. And I remember our sessions so well, even though they were in 2023. I mean, I don't know
Oh
where
my
the time's
gosh.
gone. I don't know where the time has gone, but the way you embraced it and you were ready for change, that says a lot about you. And you knew that you knew that life was out there for you. That's certainly what came across to me, and you were going to get it. And you made sure that you got yourself in that direction. Um, I'm just looking back at my questions. You've actually kind of already kind of answered some of the ones I was going to ask you. From what you've described, it sounds like you found yourself in, like you said, you were spiraling mentally. That obviously has a direct impact on the gut, which is just the irony of it all.
And they feed
But
into each other too.
so
It's just
much,
this
so much. I
loop.
mean, yeah. I mean, I can remember I could think myself into symptoms years ago. It's like, gosh,
Yeah.
darn it. Um, so you got yourself to that kind of rock bottom place mentally. So the only way is up, and you started to pull yourself up. Um, then we worked together. But how would you say that shift in your perspective and mindset and thinking, how did that influence the way you saw your own healing?
So that, like there was that initial shift, and then that brought awareness to the sort of like the negative talk that was going on internally, which was limiting my ability to sort of move forward in a way. Um, and this is still a work in progress for me.
Yeah,
I definitely have my moments. And I have to keep coming back to, the tapping and the resources like that to center me again and to bring that clarity of mind and to go, no, like we've been through this. Um, we can get over it again. Speed bumps happen, symptoms can increase, and that's fine. Like we've kind of gone through a bit, I've gone through it waves,
yeah,
and I know that like it does get better.
yeah. So
Um, yeah,
you're now able to manage those waves because there is that phrase that everybody uses, but healing is not linear, as frustrating as it is. And
yeah,
you can now ride those waves with more, well, regulation, nervous system regulation and understanding, which of course then supports your body and what it's doing, which is huge. It's huge because we're not taught these things. You don't get that as part of your diagnosis.
no,
You
it would
just kind
definitely
of
help.
dumped with this shock and then left to try and work it out for yourself. So it's really great to hear that you now can do that. Um, there was like a happy accident that came of us working together, wasn't it? When you said, I think I want to do this. So could you share with the guys how this journey shaped your decision to train as an EFT practitioner yourself?
Yeah, so in just a few sessions working together, and I was already at a point where I think I can't remember if I'd started going back to my old job, but I had this whole thing of I can't I think I might have gone back,
I
but
think you had. I think you did because we had some emails, and I'm sure you had gone back.
yeah, so I think I wasn't able to go back to the original role I was doing. So I was working as a study coordinator for clinical trials with cancer patients, and I was actually working with patients one to one, and I loved that. That was just so great for me because there there is like sort of this, I don't know whether it's spoken or unspoken, but patients on trials do better because they have that support. They have someone who is there as like a non-medical, like non-doctor type presence during their journey that they can just chat to, have a laugh with, sort of confide in type thing. And so I really loved that, but wasn't, I decided not to go back full time because I still had, I had my young son,
Yeah,
and I was dealing with, this new health challenge, and I decided, that's not for me. And then gears started churning a little bit of, well, I guess my priorities shifted. Now
yeah,
being a mother, I was thinking ahead, and whether I wanted to be in that 9 to 5 type role or if it was time to start moving into something else. And working with you sort of planted that seed of, oh, I can move in another direction because
yeah,
I just felt within me that this is the type of work that I'd be super passionate about. It ties in that working one to one with someone and helping them emotionally through their challenges, but empowering them.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
And that's such a powerful thing to be able to do for other people. Um, when you when you look back to training as a practitioner, what did it, if it taught you anything, what did it teach you about your own healing path going through that training yourself?
Um, it was very. it was very empowering for me to be
Mm,
able to do that, to take that leap of faith, and also I have a very supportive husband through all of this, through the health challenge, through going to the trainings and doing all the case studies and starting my own business. And so I've been very lucky in that sense. I've got a very good support network. But yeah, it was empowering, and just this sense of confidence of, oh, I can do something a little bit different and outside the norm, because all my life I've sort of followed the trajectory. So I come from a science background. I was research. I was supposed to go into a PhD and follow that academic route. But um, I've slowly been listening to my intuition over the years, and this is where it's leading me, and I'm loving it.
this is just great. It's just so great. Um, so if you look back to maybe 2023, maybe that point where you said everything was getting really overwhelming, you were trying to, you'd taken on so much information, you were trying to do so much and restrict yourself in so many ways to try and recover. How do you see yourself differently now to then?
There was definitely a turning point where one of our sessions, I think we worked on the fact that we wanted to have an overseas trip.
Yes.
And, um, like my health wasn't in ideal shape, but I was still able to go on that trip, have fun, let go. I took a bunch of, supplements with me. I was doing like the Absorb Plus on the airplane and stuff like that. And but we had a great time, and that just gave me the confidence that, okay, life can still go on,
Yeah.
and I'm managing things in the background, but it doesn't have to be my whole life?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is lovely because, as you were saying earlier, you felt like you'd almost been handed a death sentence with the diagnosis, and
Yeah.
you didn't think you'd ever have normalcy again or fun or freedom. And then you've just kind of gone full circle with this conversation and said you did something that was challenging when living with a condition like that, but you had a great time. So it was still possible for you to do that despite what maybe you've been told or been led to believe.
Yeah.
Um, so thinking about those that will watch this conversation, if there's somebody watching this now stuck in fear or symptoms or doubt, and we know very well what that's like, what would you say to them?
Hmm. Like I'm just thinking back to the mindset I was in, and if I would if I'd watch a testimonial of like, oh, I've healed, or this and that, and that would anger me, like,
Yeah,
um, because I was just, yeah, I was so low at that point. But what would I say? What would resonate with me at that point? I think like I the first step was just accepting it all.
yeah,
And it's not accepting it as this is my fate type thing. It's more that, like, how you talk about a lot, is like taking that responsibility. So I'm accepting that this has happened, and it's okay if you don't accept it, like wake up tomorrow and accept it. It's something that happens over time.
yes,
And if you can just be open to that changing over time and that acceptance coming through, then you can take the next step. It's little, like, like baby steps. It's
yeah,
not like you're going to have it all figured out. And it's okay to make mistakes. You're going to try something, you're not going to like it. You might want to try medication and then realize you're not going to, that's not for me. I want to add, be more holistic or natural, or whatever it is. Or maybe medications are for you. At it's There's a lot of comparison in this community. Like, I've
mm,
felt it as well. of, oh, how did you do it? Or how did you do it? Unfortunately, like you've got to figure it out
Yeah.
um, for yourself, and that process takes time. So be kind to yourself, be patient with yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's really great. Thank you. Um, Something I mentioned to you before we press record. Guys, when you watch this conversation, if you read the description under the video, I'm going to share some of Ioana's details so that you can follow her, see what she's up to in case you want to reach out, ask any questions, or see how she's working now, because she's doing some great stuff and helping people. And you know, this doesn't have to be the end of the conversation for you with Ioana. So thank you so much for sharing this and taking the time late in your evening because you're in Australia and I'm in the UK. Thank you for
How
sharing this.
amazing is that that we can just,
I
hop
know,
on and chat?
I
So
know. And I was thinking about how I've called this little lights. If you imagine we're all little lights, I'm there and then you're there, or whichever way around you
yeah,
want to look at it. We're like, you know, that's the importance of this type of community is the support and the belief and the everyone's conversation around this really, really matters. I know that people are going to watch this and hear your words and feel far less alone. And that in itself is healing. And you are proof that this healing is a journey. It's not a destination. I know that's cheesy, but that's the truth, annoyingly. And that light always does come through the cracks. So thank
yeah.
you once again and
Thank you, Rachel. I
lots of
appreciate
love.
it.